Have you ever been to a place, perhaps an old house, an empty school past closing time, or the quiet back room of a museum, and felt off about it?
Dread. Pure dread.
I'm talking about the sort of place that gives you that little tingle up the spine, a sudden sickly pit in your stomach. Dread that turns you cold and makes you shiver. Like someone's watching you, even though you know that you're alone. I'm your host, Mina Giddens, and I'm going to tell you about just such a place. This is Speck, Episode 1, The Gas Fiend. Speck is a little seaside town tucked away along an obscure stretch of England's west coast, with a population hovering around 1,000 people. I first stumbled upon it last year. Thinking I could manage without a sat-nav on my way home from a work trip, I took several wrong turns and I drove through the most picturesque little place you've ever seen. I pulled up in a quiet village square, boxed in by old stone cottages. There was a pub, a post office, and the sound of waves in the distance. It was beautiful. I really felt like I'd gone back in time. Opposite me stood an ancient church and graveyard, and further beyond, a farm and woods, and further still, I knew would be the sea. It was stunning, and yet, running low on petrol as I was, and worried I'd end up spending the night sleeping in my car on a country road, I went into the pub to ask for directions towards home. Once I had them, I was on my way, and before I knew it, I was back in familiar territory. But Speck played on my mind over the coming days. The thought of it made me uneasy somehow. I would think of it as I was drifting off to sleep. The quiet lanes, the pebble beach, the endless green fields. I decided there was only one thing for it. I went back. I started to research the place. And that's when I put out the call for anyone connected to the area to get in touch if they had anything interesting to share, wondering if Speck had the same pull on other people as it had on me, not expecting to hear much, but hoping for something. The amount of replies I got blew me away. That's how I got talking with Graham.
There you go. That's your cup of tea.
I'm in Graham's house in Speck. It's called Hollywell Cottage. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yep, I'm Graham. I'm 57 years old.
Thanks for sharing your age.
Yeah, I'm not sure why I did that, unprompted. I'm Graham, and I moved to Speck 2 years ago.
Graham is grey-haired and wearing a big woolen jumper. He looks friendly, ordinary. What made you move here, Graham?
Well, I came into some money, and I was taking early retirement. My 2 children had moved out, and I thought, there didn't seem to be any reason to stay in the city. I thought a move to the country would do me good.
Graham moved into Hollywell Cottage. It's a beautiful thatched roof place with a stone above the front door lintel that's chiselled with the year 1668. Inside, the rooms are small but cosy, with leaded windows and low ceilings crisscrossed with oak beams. The floors creak. It's exactly how you'd imagine a cottage from 1668 to look.
I don't live here now, though. I own it, but I'm renting a flat elsewhere.
You've just opened Hollywell Cottage for my visit. I'm grateful. Please, tell us why you aren't living here anymore.
It was the day after I'd moved in, and the kitchen was full of boxes, and I was putting things away into cupboards, when suddenly there was this awful smell of gas. Like if you leave the hob on without lighting it? And then it crawled out.
What was it, Graham?
It was a cat.
Now, that might seem a little anticlimactic to you out there, but this wasn't any ordinary cat.
It was the black cat of Speck.
Before Graham bought the cottage, the estate agent had told him a story connected with it. It's a story well known to the locals, the story of the black cat of Speck.
The story, as it was told to me, goes like this. A long time ago, a woman lived in the house, and she had this black cat with an extra finger, an extra digit on each of its paws, which in the olden days was a sign of witchcraft. And this woman was murdered. But the cat stayed, looking for vengeance or something. It's a local legend. People report seeing the black cat of Speck prowling around.
And this cat was standing in front of you in your kitchen.
I thought it was a joke at first, or some weird coincidence, but here was the black cat in my kitchen with extra toes or fingers or whatever you want to call them, stinking of something horrible. I just stared at it. It had a cut on one of its ears and a milky eye. It looked disgusting, to be honest. Dirty. After maybe a minute or so, it turned around and walked away.
A polydactyl cat with a bad smell. If things had stopped there, Graham no doubt would have settled in very happily in his new home. But a few days later...
I was lying in bed. I remember it was 3 a.m. I checked my phone because I thought I must have got a text or something, but I hadn't. And then I smell that gas smell again, and I just felt dread. Pure dread. It was dark, but there was a little bit of light coming in from the hall outside, and that's when I saw her. There was a woman standing by the wall closest to the door, watching me. She was thin and pale, and I remember her mouth was hanging open, like she was gasping, but frozen that way. I was so scared, I couldn't move. I couldn't do anything but hope she'd not come any closer. The next thing I knew, it was morning, and she was gone. It was like I blinked and time had leapt forward by hours.
Do you think she was a real flesh and blood person?
No. I know it sounds crazy, but I believe she was a ghost.
I couldn't stop thinking about Graham's spectral sighting, so I did a bit of research and managed to find a particular newspaper article. It's dated the 26th of August, 1927. The headline reads, "Gas Fiend." Subheading, "Local woman found dead." There's a photograph of a young, pretty woman beneath the headline. It's difficult to make out her face clearly, but she has a 1920s style bob and she's wearing a plush hat. I'll paraphrase what follows. Clara Foster, née Beaumont, aged 26, wife of soon-to-be retired Detective Constable Alfred Foster, was found dead yesterday in her home at Hollywell Cottage. Her body was discovered by a friend, Mrs. G. Collins. The cause of Mrs. Foster's death was said to be suffocation by gas. Her cat had switched on a gas ring on the Fosters' new oven. The animal was known to have had a habit of switching on the gas and inhaling until senseless. Mr. Foster was quoted as saying the animal was addicted to huffing gas and stated that he had been required to put the animal out on several occasions to prevent disaster. Yes, you heard all that correctly. This woman, Clara Foster, who lived in Graham's house 98 years before him, was gassed to death by her polydactyl cat. Have you read this article before? It seems too bizarre to be true.
No, but I know most of the details from talking to people in town.
Seeing that photograph, do you think the woman you saw in your bedroom was Clara Foster?
Without a doubt. I'd started feeling increasingly uncomfortable in the cottage. I'd randomly smell gas and start sweating. I checked the hob and the pipes. I even got a handyman to come over and check, but there was never anything wrong. One day, a few weeks after I saw the woman, I was working out in the garden and I started to smell it again. Then I felt something brush against my leg. It was the cat. The feeling of nausea was overwhelming. I stepped away, then looked back at the house. She was in the upstairs window, just a silhouette, but it was her. I couldn't see her face clearly, but I knew she was looking back at me. I've never felt so cold, so terrified. Then she disappeared. I moved out within the week.
Unfortunately for me, we didn't see anything strange while I was at Hollywell. Fascinated by Graham's experiences, however, I went off in search of anyone who might be able to tell me more. The previous owners of the cottage didn't want to feature on this programme, and the owners before them have since passed away, so we can't know if they ever experienced any ghostly apparitions. As Clara Foster died almost 100 years ago, I was thinking perhaps we'd hit a brick wall, but then...
Hello, my name's Florence Collins.
And your mother was the Mrs. Collins who found Clara Foster's body.
Yes, that's right.
Florence has lived in Speck all her life. She's small and keeps her white hair neatly pinned back out of her face. You wouldn't guess she's as old as she is. She could easily pass for 30 years younger. She sits in an armchair surrounded by her mementos. Old photos in ornate frames, pressed flowers, china milkmaid ornaments in various poses. What can you tell me about the Fosters?
I was 5 when Mrs. Foster died. She was my mother's friend. They used to play bridge together.
What was she like? What was your impression of her?
She was very fashionable and slim. I thought she was pretty and kind, a kind lady. She was married to an older man, and I think they didn't get on very well. He was stern. My mother would tell me about it when I was a bit older. He had a bit of a cruel streak, I think.
Did you ever meet Mrs. Foster's cat?
Oh, yes. I met the black cat of Speck. He was famous in the village. And it's true, it had extra toes, and I was scared of it. It was ugly. It had funny eyes and ripped ears, and I don't think it had a name, or I don't remember one. Mrs. Foster always just called it the cat.
And did it really like turning on the gas?
Yes, it did. Mrs. Foster would have to shoo it away and keep the windows open. She'd laugh about it. It were like a drug addict. It were very strange. My mother never really believed it was the cat that killed her, though. I think that was just a convenience.
What do you mean? She was suffocated by gas, wasn't she?
Yes, but the fact the cat had a habit of turning it on, it's the perfect crime, isn't it? It's easy to say the cat did it.
Who do you think killed her then?
Well, the husband, of course. Mr. Foster. There weren't any proof. I think it were all set up quite nicely. I can't say anything for sure, it were a long time ago, but that's what my mother always said. Blood on his hands, she said. Mr. Foster were a policeman, you know. He had connections. Things were different back then.
The man who lives in the cottage now thinks he saw the ghost of Clara Foster.
I won't be surprised. Won't be surprised at all. In Speck.
Such an interesting talk with Miss Collins. I hope we can dig up more information on this as we go on. I feel like... Oh my god. Oh my god. No way. You won't believe this. There's a black cat standing on a wall watching me. Let me get closer. He's not moving. Come here, Puss Puss. I'm freaking out. It really looks like its paws. Jesus. Jumped out of my skin. Where's it gone? Oh, it's gone. I'm getting in my car and going home now. Graham still owns Hollywell Cottage, but he's in the process of selling it. The countryside life hasn't suited him as much as he thought it might. He's still waiting for the right buyer to come along though, someone who doesn't mind animals. If you have any information on the Fosters or the Black Cat of Speck, do get in touch. And I hope you'll stay with me for more Speck stories. Next time on Speck.
I'm James, and I'm a pianist. They said their name was Colville. From the corner of my eye, I saw the people in the audience lean forward in their seats.
Speck was created, written, edited and produced by Jade Joe. Copyright Jade Joe 2025, all rights reserved. Mina was played by me. Graham was played by Peter Christian. And Florence was played by Lindsay Evis. If you've enjoyed listening to Speck and would like to help me make more, you can support me for the price of a cup of coffee by going to ko-fi.com/JadeJ. That's ko-fi.com/JadeJo, JIAO. Please leave me a good review and share me with a friend. Much appreciated. Thank you for listening and see you again. Bye.